Claire, my spirit is tired from all the man-eating friends that I've had to cover the last few weeks. So I think it's time that I talk about my new fettuccine friend.
Oh, yes.
I'm Vince.
I'm Claire.
And this is...
Friends of Legend.
Welcome to Friends of Legend, a podcast voted most likely to bring up shirikadamas in conversation.
Oh, gross!
By someone, presumably.
Ugh.
Well, like I said, Claire, I'm kind of worn out from all the mononongles and vaginois and yenodlishies that I've been doing.
Yeah, I can definitely see why. They are a bit freaky.
Yeah.
Let's do a happy baby this time.
Let's do Happy Baby. The one that I have this week comes from all over Japan and is named Tsuchinoko.
Tsuchinoko! Sounds like a cartoon already.
It does, and it is featured in cartoons, but we'll get to that later. Tsuchinoko are small, flat-bodied snakes that can be found in all kinds of places in Japan. They're very, very sweet looking, and I'll get into the description here pretty soon. But
Tell me.
first, I want to talk about the name. The name Tsuchinoko means child of the hammer or child of the dirt, depending on the translation.
Hammer like the hammer squished it? That's why it's flat?
So it's in reference to a type of Japanese, I believe it's a blacksmithing hammer called an otsushi, which is, it's got a big sort of flat head shaped like the Tsuchinoko's body.
Oh, okay.
But it's a wonderful name. Also, I think tsuchi can mean dirt or something like that. And they're very close to the ground, as you would imagine. In northeastern Japan, they're also called bachihebi, which means bee snake.
Bee snake?
Bee
Buzz,
snake.
buzz?
Yeah, buzz.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes they're also referred to as nozushi, which means wild mallet. But this actually appears to be a completely different creature. It's bigger, it's furry, and it doesn't have any eyes. It looks kind of like a teal berry with only one mouth.
Yeah, like a big fuzzy worm.
Mm-hmm. Big fuzzy worm. But we're not here to talk about notsushi. We are here to talk about Tsuchinoko. So let's get into the appearance. As I hinted, they're relatively small as far as snakes go, usually about 1 foot in length, 30 centimeters, or sometimes they get as big as 3 feet or 90 centimeters.
Are they still regular snake proportions?
No, so the thing about Tsuchinoko that really sets them apart is that their midsection, from just behind the jaw to just before the tail tip, it's like a big flat sausage, because it's kind of round, but it's mostly flat. It sticks out wide. Little chubster. Which is why I called it my fettuccine friend. It looks like if a really small snake swallowed a child's sandal. The last couple inches of a Tsuchinoko's tail is significantly thinner than the rest of the body. It kind of looks like a rat tail in that regard, because it's very thin and scaly.
Yeah.
And it looks kind of like an afterthought on that big sausage body. They also have 2 viper-esque fangs, which would make sense because they're certainly not constrictor snakes.
Mm-hmm.
Some other fun things about Tsuchinoko that are different from your average snake is that they have eyelids, which presumably means they're capable of winking, like that snake in Harry Potter.
Thanks.
Yeah, I also like to imagine that they have eyelashes, though I'm sure they do not.
Ooh, that's a pretty picture.
Mm-hmm. As far as coloration goes, they're typically rusty brown in color, though sometimes they're depicted with black stripes, hence the bee snake.
Oh, okay.
Other times you'll see them with the reticulated patterns of a python. I would highly recommend doing a Google image search of Tsuchinoko. They have the appearance of a small, brown, earless tabby cat.
Let's do it now.
Let's do it now.
Oh, I'm seeing all the fan art, and I adore it.
Yep, there's a lot of cuties on here.
Oh, so good, so good.
Oh yeah, you're looking at one of the memes I'm going to talk about later.
So cute.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's keep going, because this is not good radio.
The last thing I want to say about their appearance is that due to their shape and color, they're often mistaken for beer bottles.
Oh dear, I hope people don't try to drink out of them.
No, well, I mean, would you drink out of a bottle you found on the ground?
It depends on how inebriated the person. I mean, I wouldn't, but
Thank you for clarifying, because I was a bit worried there for a sec.
No, not me, but who
you.
knows?
Well, maybe you should just check that beer bottle has a label, and is clear, and is not scaly, and does not have teeth.
All good traits in a good beer bottle.
That's what I look for, myself.
Nothing more.
Nothing less. So to talk a little bit more about the nature of a Tsuchinoko, they were first referenced in the Kojiki, which is the oldest existing piece of literature from Japan. So that should give you an indication of how long they've been a part of the Japanese collective conscious.
Do we know how old that book is?
I want to say BC times. I didn't write it down because there wasn't an exact date.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's some enterprising listener who knows the exact date of the Kojiki and would like to tell us. Because they were there. They're vampires.
Like your old high school buddy.
Yeah, he was in the Battle of Hastings.
Yep. Oh boy.
Oh.
What are the odds that he would be listening? Slim.
0. I would say 0. But who knows? They're classified as yokai.
Oh, good.
Though unlike many other yokai, they are not a hodgepodge of animal parts. Here's looking at you, Kappa. Nor are they a spirit possessing a mundane object. Here's looking at you.
Kasa Obake.
Kasa Obake. We love you, Kasa
We
Obake.
do.
It's really their abilities that make them truly supernatural. The Tsuchinoko, that is. But first I want to talk about the more snake-like behaviors that they possess. Tsuchinoko can be found in burrows along wooded areas or near riverbeds. They're also sometimes found in mountainous areas, kind of like the Tatsuverm.
Okay.
But you'll hear about Tsuchinoko sightings all over Japan, all the islands. When Tsuchinoko are young, they will eat bugs until fully mature, at which point they'll eat your typical snake foods, rats, birds, frogs. But it has to be those of the small persuasion because, like I said, they're usually 1 to 3 feet max.
These little Vienna sausages.
They are such little Vienna sausages. They hunt using the venom in their fangs. Though the venom is actually strong enough to be lethal to humans, they don't normally attack humans unless threatened. Much like the majority of venomous snakes, they're more scared of you than you are of them, and will have defensive displays that they'll use before biting.
Yeah, it all just so far sounds like your typical snake. Snickety snake, just with a fat little sausage inside.
I will say some of the larger ones will attack dogs and cats.
Ooh.
But that's exceedingly rare because they'd have to be very large, and also Tsuchinoko don't normally live near human dwellings.
Okay. So, is it like a lobster where the longer it lives, the bigger it grows?
No, I think it caps out at about 3, and even then, it would have to be genetically predisposed. But I'm not a Tsuchinocologist. Not yet, at least. Keep working at it every day. Another snake-like trait is that they are most often active between spring and autumn, after which they will retreat to their burrows to hibernate.
Oh, how sweet.
Yep, I imagine that they get in a cuddle huddle with their big fat bean bods.
A little pile of tangled pasta sketties.
Pasta sketties. I guess with their shape, if they were all huddled together, they'd probably look more like gnocchi. All that said, Tsuchinoko possess a whole slew of traits that make them supernatural, or preternatural.
What do?
Well, let me start. They are deceptively nimble even though they're little chonkers, and they have several methods of movement. Of course, like a typical snake, they'll slither on the ground, but they've also been seen to scrunch their bodies like an inchworm. Another way they will move is if they're pursuing prey and they're trying to gain speed. The Tsuchinoko will lunge itself forward, curl up, bite its tail, and then roll down a sloped surface like a little hoop.
I love that.
There's some really good pictures. It's also reminiscent of a North American legend of the hoop snake.
The hoobastank?
The hoobastank. That's right. Lastly, the form of locomotion for which they are best known is that they can jump a full meter in the air, and then while in the air perform an additional jump like a video game character.
They're natural acrobats.
They are. Snackrobats. Some have been reported to jump as high as 2 to 5 meters, which is like 16 feet. So if you anger one of these babies and they're about to lash at you, don't protect your ankles, protect your face or your wrists.
Good to know, yeah.
In addition to their love of bugs, mice, frogs, and birds, they also have a taste for the umami. They're specifically said to enjoy the aromas of dried squid and miso.
And soy sauce on everything.
Oh yeah, I'm with them there. I love dried squid and miso. It makes me want ramen.
I'm not quite brave enough to have dried squid, but yeah, this little guy has some good taste.
It'd be kind of like, I imagine it would taste similar to, what's the flaky flakes? Bonito, thank you. But in addition, weirdly enough, they also like the smell of burning hair.
Usually our friends of legend have a distaste for burning things, like burning seaweed. Who is it?
That's the Knuckleavy.
Oh, yeah.
But probably also the Nikur.
Burning rubber for the Mononongal?
Yep, that's the Mononongal. They also don't like ash.
But this little guy likes burning things.
Yep, probably the only thing in the world that likes the smell of burnt hair.
Ugh.
Yeah. But they also, and I kind of find this charming, really love to drink sake. I imagine that it would only take a small cup for these lasagna lads to feel all warm and fuzzy.
Oh my gosh, a little thimble.
Mm-hmm.
These silly little drunk snakes.
You know, something I'm thinking about right now? Maybe their little sausage bods are the equivalent of snake beer bellies.
Oh my gosh, gives a whole nother meaning to drunken noodles.
Drunken noodles.
Blam, blam, blam.
So, Tsuchinoko do not make hissing sounds like an average snake, but they do make a lot of other sounds. You're very close, actually. They are often heard making mouse-like squeaks, which sound like chee, chee.
Oh god,
chee,
this is the best.
Chee. When sleeping, they snore audibly. And if that doesn't make you love the Tsuchinoko, I don't know what else to tell you.
I am enamored. I'm crying a little bit.
It's true. Her cheeks are wet. Lastly, some Tsuchinoko have been known to speak Japanese. Though it is said that anything that comes out of their mouths is a lie, which
oh dear,
par for the course for snakes, I suppose.
Yeah.
So don't go asking a Tsuchinoko for directions.
I don't think they would be the first being I would ask, but that's fine. That's good to know.
Mm-hmm. Also, if a Tsuchinoko says, "I'm definitely not going to bite you," that's when you have to run.
Blee!
Speaking of which, they do not typically attack on sight. Like any venomous snake, they have their defensive displays, like chee, chee, to let you know. But just in case you are ignoring those, make sure that you watch your arms or face, because, like I said, they do the jumps.
Yeah. Now, I wonder how loud they are, I wonder if it's...
Yeah, that's the thing, because
to a human?
If it's mouse-like in volume, too, then...
You gotta keep your ears open.
Mm-hmm. Or hopefully they have really good speaking voices as well. Like they
project.
Mm-hmm.
They throw their voices.
They sound like Levi Ackerman in the original Attack on Titan.
Oh yeah.
The super low, deep voice.
Yes. My biggest worry would be stepping on one of these little guys by accident.
Yeah, they blend in with the ground. They're little chunks. But they have their ways of letting you know they're there.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, they're quick enough to get out from underfoot.
Good. I certainly don't want to hurt anyone on purpose.
No. Tsuchinoko enjoy tatzelworm levels of popularity in sightings. In the 1970s, there was a resurgence in sightings, and all sorts of people all over Japan were going into the wilds trying to look for Tsuchinoko to, just say, hey, I found this mythical, wonderful baby.
And I like that it was recent, 50 years ago.
Yep. Even more recently, in the early 2000s, the Okayama Prefecture of Japan offered a 20 million yen reward for anyone who could capture a live Tsuchinoko.
Ooh la la. Did anyone?
No one ended up collecting the reward, unfortunately. It still stands today, if I'm not mistaken. Huh. But if that doesn't give you Pokemon vibes, then...
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah, gotta catch them all. So talking about all that, I'd like to get into sort of the popular culture references, because there are quite a lot. Japan has referenced the Tsuchinoko not quite as many times as they have the kappa in their media, but it comes up quite a few times. In the show Yokai Watch, there's a yokai named Noko that is a yellow Tsuchinoko with a heart-shaped tail and a 4-leaf clover on its head.
That's wonderful.
It's really cute. I'll show you a picture later.
Okay.
And I'm not really familiar with the way the show or the manga or the games work, but I guess the yokai can evolve kind of like Pokemon.
Oh, cool.
So Noko evolves into Blue Minoko, which is
a bloomin' onion.
larger, pink, and has a lotus instead of a clover on its head.
Wonderful.
Mm-hmm. It's very happy looking. It has little blush cheeks.
You know who else has lotuses in their little snake head?
What?
Viper and Kung Fu Panda.
Oh, that's true. Viper's a lot more svelte than a Tsuchinoko.
Yeah, it's true.
There are several video games that feature the Tsuchinoko as a discoverable critter, including Monster Hunter and, strangely enough, Metal Gear Solid 5. It also appears in one of the Castlevania games, Aria of Sorrow. But it's a minor enemy, and the graphics make it just look like a sad green blob.
Oh, no.
So it's hard to tell that it's anything at all.
Yeah.
I bet you're wondering, is there a Pokemon inspired by Tsuchinoko?
Well, is there?
I'm happy to tell you that, of course, there is.
Grand.
Dunsparce was introduced in Generation 2, and it is a yellow snake with a big blobby body. Not big, it's like a foot in length.
See, I only know what it looks like because you just requested a plush of it for Christmas.
It's true, I was inspired by this.
I should have known. I should have put two and two together.
But yeah, it's got the blobby body, it's got little stripies on its back, it's got little closed eyelids, so it looks very sleepy.
Aww.
Its tail is thin at the base, but then it has like a drill on the end. I don't really know where that comes from. And it also has little tiny wingies.
Little cherub.
It is very, very sweet.
Little chunk cherub.
It's commonly reviled by most Pokemon fans as it is hard to catch in earlier generations, but for no particular reason. It isn't very strong, it doesn't have special abilities, it's normal type.
Mm-hmm.
But it gets an A+ for me for looking like a friend.
Oh, I think it looks great.
There are also a handful of Yu-Gi-Oh cards that depict the Tsuchinoko. My favorite being Danger? Tsuchinoko?
That's a real card?
Yeah, it has a lot of exclamation points and question marks in it. And when we were looking at Google Images a little earlier, that card was in that image set.
Oh!
Yeah. It's real cute. Lastly, in the late 2010s, there was a popular meme on Tumblr where people would post especially friend-shaped drawings of the Tsuchinoko with the caption, Tsuchinoko real. It's an incredibly wholesome meme. And that's the meme that we were looking at.
Oh, okay. Cute little cartoons.
Where it had like Tsuchinoko teal, Tsuchinoko seal.
Yeah, just different cute little variations, little costumes. Wonderful.
Oh, yes. It's a good place to look. So are you thinking about going to Japan to find a scaly friend? Maybe get 20 million yen, that is?
Yeah. You know, I would do it without the reward. Of course I would.
I would too. I'm just there for the friends.
Oh, yeah.
But I would advise you to take the precautions that you would when entering the home of any venomous snake. This is especially true because Tsuchinoko are typically sighted in habitats that they share with other, more mundane venomous snakes in Japan, like the mamushi and the yamakagashi. They look very similar to Tsuchinoko. They're just more noodly, they're more viper-like, and they are easier to find and easier to get bitten by.
Well, that's fun.
Yep, it'll be a fun little sighting, but make sure to keep your distance. Respect those snakes.
Of course.
So first off, make sure you're properly equipped when you're going on your journey. You want to wear sturdy boots. You want to wear thick arm and leg coverings to protect yourself from bites in case you miss any of the signs.
Get a camera with good zoom ability.
Yes, we don't want any blurry images. And make sure you pack some treats for the Tsuchinoko, like dried squid, miso, like a thermos of miso soup maybe.
Yeah.
A bottle of sake.
They eat like kings.
They do. I mean, but their blood pressure must be just through the roof.
Hopefully they have better ability than humans to metabolize all that
It's
sodium.
Maybe they can cry it out. Aw.
Oh, I don't want them to cry.
Well, maybe it's like sweating, because I don't know. I'm being silly. I'm hypothesizing. Anyway, once you're out in Tsuchinoko country, keep your eyes peeled. Like I had mentioned before, they're very similar to the color of the ground, and they don't make hissing noises like the mamushi or the yamakagashi would. So you're going to have to listen for those cheese, chee, chee.
I'll bring my ear trumpet.
Or someone saying, there is no Tsuchinoko here.
Aha, you're trying to pull one over on me, Tsuchinoko.
Mm-hmm. Also, if you do hear a small voice saying that you're definitely in a safe distance and not at risk of being bitten, start backing up.
I'll be sure to do that.
Thank you. Your safety is my life. Maybe you want to bring the Tsuchinoko to you instead of stumbling around in the wilds looking for it. If that's the case, go ahead and find yourself a nice little clearing wherever you are. Open that thermos of hot miso soup that you brought. Maybe throw some dried squid on top of it. Let the inviting aroma start to fill the area. Do the work for you.
And then you'll get dozens of Tsuchinoko, like in that wonderful internet video of the piper, the flautist.
Oh, with the 17 raccoons?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Oh, yes.
Now, if you want to make sure that the smell you're making is going to pierce through the general milieu of the forest, maybe cut off a lock of your hair and light it with the lighter.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, well, you got to make sacrifices to make a pasta pal.
Sacrifices.
Sacrifices. That's adorable. Once you've spotted your friend, let it make the first move. Sudden or unwanted motions on your part could lead the Tsuchinoko to flee or strike out.
I don't want that at all.
I don't want that either.
Especially after we've taken this long trip to Japan.
It'd just be the worst if you got that far and then it ran away or did a chomp.
A tender touch.
Tender touch. I'm not even talking about getting to the touching part yet.
No, not physically touching, but you use a tender touch.
That makes sense. As it's coming near, slowly pull out that sake you packed, pour it into a small cup, and set it on the ground. Take a step at least 6 feet. Because 6 feet is the rule.
6 feet! 6 feet!
6 feet! So that way the Tsuchinoko can approach and drink without feeling threatened.
How hot does it need to be?
I mean, probably hot or cold is fine. I didn't see any preference. It might be easier to bring the cold sake with you and keep your thermos for the hot miso soup.
Okay.
So they can have the hot and cold sensation.
Ooh.
Let it have its fill of the treats that you brought for it. And then maybe now that it's enjoyed your offerings, you can pay it some homage with saying some respectful words about it.
Does it only speak Japanese or understand Japanese?
I didn't see anything that suggested it would know any other language.
Also, I just updated my iOS, and there's this new feature where your phone can just translate stuff for you. So maybe we can just talk into our phone and hold it up to the Tsuchinoko, and it'll speak Japanese for us.
Yeah, that'll be good. I would really like that. But some respectful things that you could say to it if you can't think of any on your own, or something like, "Thank you for honoring me with your presence, proud Tsuchinoko. You have a stunning pattern on your back, truly unique. Your movements are nimble and regal, like a prince of the wilds."
Ah, this reminds me of what we would say to the Tarask. What big horns you have, do you remember?
Did you polish that shell? Yes, of course I remember. At this point, it may decide to talk back to you. And it'll say all sorts of things, none of which you should believe or take to heart, but just be glad that it's talking to you.
Well, yeah, it would be heartbreaking if it said, "You are my new friend," and you're like, "Oh, wait."
We all have friends that can't help but tell lies, not out of malevolence, but just because that's how they are.
Yeah, okay.
And with those friends, you just kind of gotta give them a knowing smile and nod and shrug beans. So, having said that, I believe it is time to give this creature a friend rating. Now, if this is your first time listening to the podcast, welcome. I think this is a good place to start.
Hello, I agree. This is a cutie.
We have a 4-tiered rating system that gauges how easy it is to become friends with these creatures. The first tier is friend-shaped. This would be the kind of friend that would take you out on a fishing trip. Think of something like a hobgoblin.
The second tier is cheeky friend, and a cheeky friend would drink all of the beverages that you brought in your little cooler to last you the whole fishing trip. Think of something like a boggart.
Man, at that point, fishing would just it would be like going out to go sit somewhere.
Womp womp.
Womp womp. Next up from cheeky friend is spicy friend. This would be the kind of friend who takes you on a fly fishing trip in a piranha-infested river. Think of something like the Nikur.
Man, the Nikur would!
Sure would, but then it would also drag you into the water to drown you.
I wonder which will get you first. The water filling your lungs, or, you know what, this is not Friends of Legend talk.
Womp womp.
Ay, ay, ay. Lastly is not a friend yet. This kind of creature would take you on a fishing trip, but use you as bait to catch a shark. Think of something like a puckwudgie.
You would say that about the puckwudgie.
And remember, 3 of these analogies are goblins, so if you're wondering, wait, they didn't do an episode on the puckwudgie, that's all in the goblin episode.
Yes, we did. So with all that in mind, Claire, what friend rating would you give the Tsuchinoko?
That little Tsuchinoko, well, it's got those little fangers, so I think, Most of the time I would say friend-shaped, but if it ever got bitey-bitey, then possibly cheeky friend. It doesn't seem like... If your guard is up, and if you're doing everything that you can not to irritate this little guy, like you don't want to irritate any snake, then I would just give it a nice old cheeky friend rating.
Yeah, I'm going to say firmly cheeky friend rating because of the lying.
The lying.
It also seems like the kind of noodle who, if you finally pal up to it and like invite it into your home, you're going to wake up in the morning and find that your liquor cabinet got raided, and you're going to find your miso paste all over the floor, and you're going to see an extremely rotund little Tsuchinoko cavorting and languishing in the afterglow of a hangover.
Oh my gosh, I never realized how many Friends of Legend would love to booze it up all the time.
Yeah.
The Vaginoi, Baba Yaga. The Kappa, he drinks, right?
Yeah, I think the Kappa might drink sake. I can't remember, honestly. I don't like cabbages.
Fermented cabbage juice. No.
Ew.
No.
Okay, that'd be stanky.
Then we just get to kimchi territory.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Well, thank you so much for listening to this episode. If you like what you heard, we'd highly encourage you to tell a friend about us. The best way to tell a friend would be to lead them to our website, friendsoflegend.com.
Yeah, once you get to friendsoflegend.com, there you can see all of most of the social media platforms that we're on, so you can just click on the icon and it'll lead you straight to our page. Also, you can just listen to the full catalog of our episodes straight from our website, so that really is a great way of sharing us, and we're really trying to spread the word about our show. We really want to spread a little bit of light into your day and your friend's day, so please, it would really mean the world to us if you shared us.
Absolutely. And if your friends are on the go, they can see the icons of the major podcast services that they can find our episodes on, so they can catch us on their mobile device.
Yeah, and we're really on pretty much all the podcast platforms these days, but regardless, it's never been easier to listen, and we're also uploading all of our episodes to YouTube, and they're static videos, and it's super easy to just share the YouTube video if you decide to spread the love.
Yeah, and like Claire said, we're on social media. You can find us on Facebook and Twitter. You can see posts about previous episodes as well as hints for upcoming episodes.
That's right, and we have an announcement to make. We're actually going to start doing episodes every other Saturday, so we'll be doing that for the foreseeable future, just to give us some time to work on some other endeavors in our lives. So thank you so much for understanding, and we definitely have some big plans for Creatures of Legend for weeks to come, but if you have your own idea of a friend of legend that you would like us to talk about, shoot us an email at friendsoflegend@gmail.com. Just write in any request you have, and we'll do our very best to make an episode about it.
You can also hit us up on social media, or there's a contact form at friendsoflegend.com as well.
True that.
Well, thanks again so much for listening, and remember, when it comes to Friends of Legend, charm them.
Do not harm them.
I guess that's the way that sushi crumbles. Man, at that point, it just becomes